Annie of ByAnnie.com and Patterns by Annie. Thank you so much for joining us today for Live with Annie. As usual, we've started the stream a bit early. This helps us get everything set up and broadcasting properly to our various platforms. You can find a countdown clock on the screen showing how long it will be until we actually go live. While you wait, please connect with us and other viewers in the chat. Let us know where you are from and whether you're a new or longtime viewer. We'll see you live soon! Thanks again for joining us for Live with Annie. We are so happy to have you with us today. While you wait for the program to start, we hope you'll enjoy the content playing on screen. There's so much inspiration, so take a moment to tell us what you love in the chat. Don't forget there is a countdown clock on the screen so you know how long until we go live. Hi, it's Annie again, reminding you that we'll be going live with this week's episode shortly. There is a countdown clock on the screen showing how much time is left. You've got just enough time to grab some water or a beverage of your choice and a snack, and to connect with us in the chat. We'd love to hear what you've been working on this week. It's Annie, back to remind you that we'll be starting this week's live very shortly. We've got a really fun episode planned for today, and we'll see you soon. Hi, I'm Annie of ByAnnie.com and Patterns by Annie. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 34 of season 4 of Live with Annie. Today we are visiting with Laura Muir of the Create Joy Project. Laura is a mixed media and watercolor artist who designs everything from stickers to fabric. Her latest line for Moda Fabrics, Floribunda, is hitting stores now. We will talk about Laura's inspiration and process and showcase the projects we made using this beautiful line. Oh goodness, it's good to be back. After a month of coughing, which turned into pneumonia, I feel like I am finally a bit on the mend, and it is good to see you all again. I am going to do my darndest to try not to cough through this episode, so bear with me if I do. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate that you're here. And remember, if you enjoy these episodes, please follow us and also share them with someone who might enjoy them. Just tag them during the show so that they can tune in too. And we love hearing from you, so don't forget to comment and ask questions. We will try to answer all of those before we wrap up today. So last week, Casey and Hawk talked a bit more about our new website and answered questions that customers have had about searching, ordering, and more. If you missed it or want to watch it again, remember that you can find all the previous 171 episodes of Live with Annie on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, or at ByAnnie.com. And we've put up all the links to make them easy for you to find. As I said, today we are being joined by Laura Muir of the Create Joy Project. For Laura, art is a way of connecting with joy in the moment, and her joy is obvious in every piece of art that she makes. I can't wait to talk to Laura and show you the fun projects we made using her beautiful new line, Floribunda. So please help me welcome Laura to Live with Annie. Uh-oh. Hang on just a minute, I can't hear you.
Oh,
Let's try that. How about that?
Ah, that's better.
can you hear me now?
Can hear you now. Thanks so much.
Hi, everybody. So
Thank
excited
you
to be
so-
here.
Thank you so much for being with us. We have had this planned for such a long time, so I'm glad that we finally made it work. So, as I said, we really enjoyed working with Floribunda and really admired your work. And I really want to find out more about how it all comes together. But before we get into that, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your family and where you live?
Absolutely. So, I have been married to my wonderful husband, Mike, for 20 years now, and we have 3 kids. My oldest daughter, Elena, who is 16, Lincoln, who is 12, and my youngest son, Harrison, who is 9. And then we have 2 little cute golden doodles. Well, one's big and one's little, and they're kind of like our little mischievous kids in the family. And we are surrounded by family here in Utah. I'm born and raised here, and I just love it. The longer I live here, the more I love the landscape, love the people, and just have been so happy here.
That's awesome. Yeah, I moved to Utah in 1990, so I've been here longer than anywhere else I lived anywhere else in my life, and I love Utah too. I'm way down south, you're way up north, so we're not too close together, but it is a beautiful, wonderful state. So I have a question about
Absolutely.
art. Has that always been a part of your life, and have you had any formal training in art?
So art has been a big part of my life. Ever since I was little, have been art obsessed. I think when I was really little, I used to take all of my art supplies to church, and nobody could pry them from my hands because I was always drawing. So my grandmother, Elaine Harris, who noted my constant obsession with drawing, put me in private art lessons when I was quite young. And I started with drawing and colored pencils and graphite, and that really helped blossom a lifelong love of art. And I never really turned back from there. My skills have kind of shifted and changed as I've gotten older. And so I never really did formal college training in art. It was more of a self-taught, kind of constant self-learning. And as I kind of got into my high school years, I shifted into oil painting and really fell in love with portraiture and more realism. And then, oh man, I feel like I have so much to say about art, but I fell in love with that. And it was such a great way to kind of hone my artistic skills. But as I matured and got older and started having kids and a family, I found that realism just didn't connect with me the way that it used to, I guess. And I kind of pare it down to, I think, the controlling aspect of realism and needing to be very particular and very precise. And I felt like I needed more of a flowy kind of release, like emotional release with my art. And I discovered watercolors, started dabbling in those, I think when my middle child was born, and I just completely fell in love with watercolors. I really feel like it's kind of where I'm meant to be, and I just love it so much. It's one of those really freeing kind of mediums, because you can't completely control where things go with watercolor. You can have partial control, but there's always like surprises and ways that the paint dries and changes as it dries. That is just kind of a surprise, and I love that about watercolor. It sort of became more of a Zen practice for me, and it was just perfect for me in that time of my life.
Wow, that is really interesting. I never would have thought of the difference between two mediums making so much difference, but it really makes sense. I've never been much of an artist at all, but I've dabbled in things through the years, and I would have to say that I'd really prefer watercolors just for the fact that cleanup is so easy. I did a little bit of stuff with oil paints, and having to wait for them to dry and the special products that you needed to clean the brushes, all of that was just really fiddly. But I never thought about how controlling that also was. So I love hearing that art is now soothing for you and that you find joy and peace in that process. So where do you get inspiration for the things that you make?
Oh my gosh. Well, I am a huge nature lover. I feel like I'm kind of, maybe it's an artist eye kind of a thing where you're trained to notice the little things, but things in nature, the little things, flowers and leaves and like the wind rustling through the leaves, all of these things are very inspiring to me. And that's why I love living in Utah, because the landscape is so gorgeous and it changes so much through the seasons. We get to enjoy all of the seasons here in Utah. And, you know, like you said, between north and south in Utah, the landscape changes so greatly as well. So there's just so much natural beauty surrounding me here. That really becomes a huge part of my inspiration. And also in my travels, I love to travel and I love experiencing the different landscapes and all the places that I visited. And I really make sure that I take a lot of pictures when I travel, and I use those to reference as I'm creating my art as well. So that's a lot of where my inspiration comes from. And of course, my obsession and love of flowers. I'm a diehard flower lover, and I always will be. So that is a big inspiration for me in my art as well.
Did I also understand that you had a grandmother who was an artist or a watercolor artist?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, you're right. One of my great grandmothers, her name is, well, my grandma Robbins. She was a very kind of celebrated local watercolor artist, and I was too young to know her well, but I really feel like I connect with her through watercolors. I'm really into family connections and history, and I feel like once I kind of jumped into watercolors, I felt like this connection with her. And you know, I've grown up seeing her watercolors hung in my grandma's house, and many of my aunts and uncles and my parents have lots of her art hanging as well. And she has a similar style and kind of vibe to her watercolors. So it's really interesting how there's that connection throughout our family. And I really enjoy kind of feeling like we're kindred spirits in that.
That's such a great story. I really enjoyed hearing that. So that's great. I also really enjoyed looking through your website and seeing what a broad range of art you've made. So you've got stickers, greeting cards, luxury gift wrap, fine art. I mean, it runs the full gamut. How did you go from all of that to designing fabric?
Well, I started out in just original artwork where I was selling paintings and, creating just for myself. And I ended up doing, I wanted to connect with people that weren't necessarily able to be original art collectors. I love that sense of community that bringing a piece of art into somebody's home creates. But I felt like there was a big divide. So I started creating watercolor stationery. I did cards and, wrapping paper and art prints and things like that. And I started a company, Create Joy Project, with those products because I wanted to bring original art into people's homes, but in an affordable way. And that was a really fun way to kind of connect with a different set of collectors, I guess. And once I did that, I went and had a booth at the National Stationery Show in New York. And by some kind of special chance meeting, I ran into Cheryl Friedberg and Jamie Chupik of Moda. And there was just an instant connection between us. And it seemed very fortuitous that we started talking about fabric design and their ability to print digitally. And it was kind of a new thing for them. But I had been contacted by a few different fabric companies, and I just wasn't really interested in creating traditionally printed fabrics because you lose so much of the nuance, texture, and just like the wide gamut of color ways that you would have in an original painting. So when we discovered the ability to do digital printing through Moda, it was like light bulb moment for all of us. We were so excited to kind of combine the original art of watercolor and fabric. And it just is such an amazing new way to connect with people in the world and share my art that way. Because I've always been a fabric obsessed collector of fabric and have always sewn my whole life. So it's like a total dream come true to work with Moda and be able to create these fabric lines.
That is really awesome, and that is really true because the soft mottled edges and stuff that you get with watercolor just couldn't be reproduced in a traditionally woven and printed fabric, but the digital printing enables you to really expand all of that. So I noticed on your website that you have quilt patterns too. Did you start to sew as a child, and what are your favorite techniques to do, and what kinds of things do you like to make?
Yes, so I do have some quilt patterns, and I have worked with some really awesome quilt writers that have helped me to bring these quilt patterns to life. And so I love that aspect of, creativity. And yes, I have always sewn since I was young. My mother was a very skilled seamstress, and her whole life growing up through high school and when she was newly married, she actually sewed all of her wardrobe and was just an amazing seamstress. So she introduced me to sewing, and she would send me to sewing school every summer and helped me kind of cultivate a love of sewing that way. And I started kind of like dabbling in those courses, and then like all little girls that love to sew, I would create Barbie clothes and all of these fun little projects that we would do in sewing school. And it really just bloomed into a hardcore obsession with sewing throughout my life. I had aunts and my other grandma who sewed all the time, and they were so gracious to kind of bring me into the fold and help me through projects that were above my pay grade, definitely. And it was an amazing gift that they gave me to help me through, the kind of getting into the sewing world. And I have never turned back. I love to quilt. I love to sew clothing. And when I had young kids, like babies at home, I would sew clothing for them all the time. And I even started drafting clothing patterns and having lots of fun that way. But for right now, at this point in my life, I just love quilting. I love traditional piecing, and that's kind of where my sewing adventure is at right now.
That's awesome. Well, it sounds like you've really covered the whole gamut, and how wonderful to be able to go to actual sewing school and learn the proper skills and the way to do it right, because once you have that foundation, there's so many ways that you can expand with it and go with it. So when you're not painting,
that was a big blessing.
Yeah, no kidding. When you're not painting or sewing, what keeps you busy?
Oh, well, my 3 kids, they don't keep me busy at all. But I am one of the many Americans who is highly pickleball obsessed right now. I put a pickleball court in my backyard, and I play probably 5 times a week at least. I would like to play more, but I do a lot of that, and I have more hobbies than your average Joe should have, for sure. I think I'm a serial hobbyist, and I love collecting new hobbies and trying all sorts of creative things. I think I got that disease from my dad because he can do and make anything. And I grew up watching him just chase after hobby after hobby after hobby and crushing them and making these most amazing things. So creativity and being a maker is just really ingrained into who I am. And so I, grew up beading all the time. My dad used to teach me Indian beading because that's kind of part of our history and our family. And I did a lot of that. And I love to cook. I love to bake. Just pretty much any craft you can think of. I think I've dipped my toes into it. And I think I'll just keep doing that my whole life.
That is so wonderful. That just makes life so interesting and so much fun. And being able to try all kinds of different things really expands your horizons and influences all the things you do. So let's talk about Floribunda, which again is your latest line for Moda, and it's just hitting stores all around the country. So can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind this collection?
Absolutely. Floribunda is totally fall inspired, as you can see, but it's not limited to fall. It's not so kitschy that it has to be a fall fabric line, but I really wanted to just bring in this powerhouse line that is just autumn glory. I wanted something that really just spoke to the luscious beauty of the nature in fall here in Utah. And there were so many things that inspired this line. I became really, really fall obsessed while I was creating this line because I, started out with sort of a mood board. And my first idea was sort of a vintage, groovy, inspired fall fabric line that really played on jewel tones and some of the tones of the 70s. So when I was creating this mood board, I was pulling in lots of, fashion images from the 70s and then pouring through lots of my photography from the fall season here in Utah and, the florals, the changing leaves, and just so many beautiful jewel tones were popping out to me in that. So I wanted to bring that to life in this fabric line, but also kind of add a modern twist, not make it feel too nostalgic. So it's kind of a mishmash of, groovy 70s fall jewel tones, but with a modern twist. Who knows if that makes any sense, right?
Oh, I think it makes sense. And I think you did a fabulous job. Fall is my very favorite season of the year, too. And I think you really captured the season as well as the colors, the joy of a beautiful garden. And the vintage color palette that you picked is really beautiful. So what was your creative process like when you were designing Floribunda?
Well, like I said, I started with that mood board, but when you're designing artwork for a fabric line, you really have to do things differently. Well, at least I do things differently than I would if I'm just painting for myself or for another project. So I start with a mood board, and then I really started honing in my color palette. So with this image on the screen, you can see kind of how I pulled my colors from my mood board. And once I hone in that color palette, I have to do something really fun, which is custom mix watercolors for my palette. And the reason why I do that is I have to be very, very specific about maintaining the colorways in my color scheme for this fabric line, because there's so much painting that goes on and so many paintings that go into a fabric line design that you could get really crazy with how many colors you add in, and colors mix and change as they blend. So it's my way of really kind of controlling the crazy situation of watercolors and maintaining a seamless color scheme throughout each painting that I bring into the fabric line. So I really mix a dedicated color palette that is specifically for each fabric line. And then I have to make, rigorous notes on my mixing and ratios so that anytime I run out of a color, I can remix and refill my palette. And, if I ever am creating a fabric line to specifically go with a previous line, I have all of that information. So it becomes a little bit, OCD, I guess you would say, when I'm creating a fabric line, a group of art for a fabric line. And it's a little different than my kind of free and easy creation process when I'm just painting out of my color palette, my basic color palette that I use.
Wow. I would never have thought about that, but your attention to detail on that definitely shows in the finished project. So I'm curious if you draw inspiration from any specific artists or other sources like that while you're working on the design of a fabric line like this.
Well, when I am searching for inspiration for a line, I feel like I'm finding inspiration all around me. And as an artist, you're constantly sort of refilling your inspiration bank. I make sure to have practices that I do regularly to kind of keep my inspiration bank full. So that would be being a constant photographer. Anytime I'm out in nature, I'm always snapping pictures. It probably bugs the people that are with me. Anytime I'm on a hike, I'm just like documenting all the time. And I think as an artist, you learn to live that way because you are constantly seeking out inspiration. And so I really draw inspiration from the nature all around me. And I pulled from that a lot when I was putting together my inspiration board. And then, like I said, fashion from the 70s was a really big inspiration for kind of the vibe that I was going for with this fabric line as well.
Yeah, I love how you kind of blended classic and contemporary. I think that really makes Floribunda unique. How do you envision crafters and quilters using these fabrics in their projects?
Well, I did put together a small collection of quilts that are patterns that you can use to create with. So that's kind of the easy road. If you're looking for a quick inspiration, I have some quilt patterns that I have designed with these fabrics in mind. And then, beyond that, my favorite part about sewing is just finding fabric that inspires you and then hunting down what you want to create with that fabric. So I would suggest that everybody go with your gut and find something that makes you feel, so excited and so alive, and you just can't wait to create with this fabric. And that's my favorite part about sewing, is just the adventure part of it and finding something that you just cannot wait to create. That thing that keeps you up till late hours sewing and sewing and sewing because you just are loving it so much.
I totally agree with that. And I know one of the things that we really enjoyed about Floribunda was that there was such a wide range of fabrics available. 36 fabrics are in the line, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Which is
quite a large collection. We had a hard time paring down because we just loved the design so much.
Yeah. And so I thought we would take a minute and maybe show some of the things we made. We did all kinds of stuff, from zippered bags to whole sewing projects, and then we made a whole coordinated travel ensemble. But the variety of designs and the colors really gave us a lot of room to play with those and combine pieces that would make a cohesive ensemble, but also look good as individual pieces too. So I thought I'd just start with maybe some small, easy projects that we made just to showcase some of the fabrics. So this is a new pattern that we introduced this spring called Drop Zone, and it makes little zippered bags in 3 sizes. And the great thing about these is that when you zip them open, they make little trays that make it really easy to showcase what's on the inside. A lot of times when you make a zippered bag, all you see is the fabric on the outside. You never see what's on the inside. But this really enabled us to showcase those beautiful leaves and the beautiful flowers on both the outside and the inside. Here we did just kind of one of the solids on the inside, but it was really fun to mix and match and try all sorts of things. So these are great for holding your sewing tools when you're sewing, or put them in the bathroom, or set them on the counter to catch all those things that you drop when you walk in the house, your keys, all those things. And they're just really fun to make. So that again is called Drop Zone. We also did another small project called Ditty Bags, which we updated this past spring. And these are just little kind of toiletry bags in 3 different sizes. We did 3 different of the floral and leaf prints on these, and then picked some of the solids for the little border that accents each one. So those are just fun and simple to make, and depending on the fabrics you choose, great for men, women, children, anybody. In so many ways you can use those. They're great for toiletries, tech gear, all kinds of ways you can use those. Another small project that we made is called Glow and Go, and this folds up and makes a handy little wrap. I use this to carry my makeup or to even store my makeup at home. So it's got a strap that expands. It's got a little slider on here, so it expands the more you put in it. And then on the inside, it has mesh pockets in a variety of sizes with a little vinyl overlay that you can put over the top so that things don't get messy. I put my makeup brushes, my mascara, my lipstick, all those things in here. Sorry, my voice is getting a little scratchy here.
That is so amazing. Those are gorgeous.
When we made this, we also fused an iron-on laminate onto the fabric for the inside so that when you put things like makeup brushes in there, you can easily wipe it clean. And this pattern, in addition to the makeup wrap, also includes just a super simple, easy to make little zippered bag. And on this one too, we added the slicker iron-on laminate on the inside so that it wipes clean. One fun thing about this little bag is that if you have a 1/4 yard of fabric, a main and a lining, so a 1/4 yard of each, you can get 2 bags out of it. Each one uses half of a 30-inch zipper. So whenever I make these, I always make 2 of them so that I have one to go with my set and an extra one to have on hand for a gift. Another small project that we made, got to walk back here and grab it, is called Open Wide. And this is a very different fabric from some of the rest. More of an all-over little sunflower, but we loved that it came in 3 colorways, and we featured each of those on the bags, and then coordinating one of the solids to do the borders and the bindings on them. And then we did different fabrics for the inside. On this one, we picked the fun big yellow sunflowers. It's been a while since I looked at these. Same lining on that one. We might have used the same lining on all 3 of these, I think. Let's take a look. Yep, same lining. So that made it easy. We just used one lining and a different one on the outside of each. So those are so beautiful. Super simple, easy little projects that you could make. Great for gifts, evening or weekend projects. Then we thought it would be fun to make some things that we could use for organizing some sewing supplies. And this is one of my favorite patterns, one that I like using for organizing parts for a project, organizing things in my suitcase. They fit well in a lot of our larger travel bags, and they're called pocket packers. So there are 4 different styles in this pattern. Each of them has a full mesh pocket on the back and a handle, and then there's 4 different styles. So this one is a 1 pocket version, so it's just 1 big pocket. There's a 2 pocket version, and we used the leaves on one side. We alternated with lighter fabrics on the other side, back and forth as we made these. This one has 3 pockets, and any of the pockets can be divided to make additional pockets. And then the last one has 4 pockets. So lots of things that you can store in those. And we had a fun time mixing and matching fabrics, combining different colors of zippers with them. And then as you can see, we used the same fabric as the coordinate for all of them. So it was kind of a watercolory stripe, and we used that for the handles as well as the bindings on all. This pattern includes 2 lengths of handles. You can either do long handles or short handles. So depending on how you want to carry it, you've got options for both of those. The next pattern that we did for organizing sewing supplies is our new pattern called Hot and Heavy, and this is designed to carry an iron. So we've got Tula Pink's new iron for a liso. In the large one, it's got pockets on the inside made out of mesh to store extra things, a little cord wrap for your iron, and zips up, easy handles for easily carrying it, and then a zippered pocket on the front. So this one holds your regular size iron, and then the small one is designed to carry the little mini iron. So that is called Hot and Heavy, and if you don't have an iron you want to carry around, it would also make an awesome little handbag. We added some triangle rings on each side, so if you want it to make a carrying strap and wear it crossbody, we have a free pattern called Carrying Strap and Pad, and you could make a carrying strap to carry it that way as well. Another project that kind of crosses the gamut between storing sewing supplies or travel is a pattern called Bling It On. This is one of our older patterns, not one we make a lot, but it is one that I use every day at home. I have it hanging in my closet with all my jewelry in it, and it's also really awesome for holding sewing supplies. So it's a two-sided organizer, and we added a little piece of vinyl mesh at the top that you could put earrings in. And then one side has zippered mesh pockets all the way down, which would be great for storing hardware packages or zippers, any of those types of supplies. And then the other side, the pattern has two versions. So this is the version that is designed for jewelry. So it's got little Velcro tabs that you can hook your chains on and let them hang over. And then these little pockets down here, I like to use the little plastic cases that our hardware comes in, and I put my earrings and things in them, and they fit perfectly in these little pockets, so it's always easy to find something. Again, a thing up here for putting pins or earrings, and then it zips open here so that you can put your coat hanger in and hang it up, but you could also store things on the inside too. So if you had rulers, if you wanted to take this to a quilt retreat with all your sewing supplies in it, the second version in the pattern, instead of having these strips on it, has just an additional pocket here. But the great thing about it is that when you hang it up, it takes up no space. You can hang it on a rod somewhere, and you've got lots of stuff in just a tiny bit of space. So I keep that in my closet with all my jewelry, and it makes life really simple. So one quick more drink. Next, we decided that Floribunda really needed to be a coordinated travel ensemble. So the first bag that we made was our perennial favorite ultimate travel bag. And I really liked the all-over floral for the body of this one. There's so many beautiful flowers in here. It just makes me want to go on a trip somewhere in the fall. And we, on this one, used the really nice stripe for the handles and bindings and all the coordinate on here. And this just makes a great bag for traveling wherever you want to go. There is a trolley sleeve on the back, so you can hook this over the handles on your rolling luggage, a slip zip pocket on the front, pockets on the sides, and then on the inside there's even more pockets. So this is a really great bag that fits under the seat in front of you or in the overhead bin, and great for traveling with. Another nice size travel bag is our round trip duffel. So unlike Get Out of Town and Travel Duffel, this bag is made more similar to the Ultimate Travel. So instead, on those bags, round trip duffel, Travel Duffel and Get Out of Town, you have one piece of fabric that goes around that makes your body, and then you sew ends on. This one is more like Ultimate Travel in that it has a front and a back, and then a zipper side strip that goes around this way. That enables the zipper to open partway down each side, which I think gives you a little better access to the inside. And then just like Ultimate Travel Bag, it has pockets on each end and on the front and back, as well as a trolley sleeve. So it's very similar to Ultimate Travel Bag, except that it's not shaped the same way. So to me, this is a great, more masculine looking bag, and might make a really nice one if you're looking for a bag to make for a guy in your life. I really loved this print too, and the colors in this one. I just thought that one was really, really a pretty one, and the solid blue made really nice contrasting handles on that one. Then you're going to need something to organize all your supplies in your travel bags. So we made some of our smaller projects. This is our travel essentials bag, which is designed to carry toiletries and makeup. And when you get to the hotel, you can hang it over the shower rod or curtain rod, and you've got lots of room for all of your makeup, and a nice big pocket at the bottom for bigger things like shampoo or hairspray. Even a hairdryer would fit inside there. And then the pattern also includes instructions for a hot tool sleeve that you can put your curling iron or your flat iron in. I would put the hot tool in the back pocket and then the cord in the front pocket, and that makes it easy to pack. So that is travel essentials, and this makes a really nice gift for someone as well. As you can see on here, we used the more solid fabric for the body of the bag and then concentrated the pretty florals for the borders and the lining on the inside, which gives it a really nice contrast too. This is one of my other really favorite projects for travel. It's called Pack It In. And there's 3 different sizes of packing cubes that you can use to pack everything and organize it in your suitcase. I use these absolutely every time I travel. My shirts and jackets on hangers go in the big one, my pants and things like that in the medium-sized one, my underwear, socks, and all that in there. And it makes it really easy because I can pack all those upstairs, carry them down, and put them in my suitcase, and I'm not having to drag the big suitcase up and down the stairs. So I love these bags, and if you don't want to use them for travel, they're also really nice for organizing sewing supplies and things like that. And as you can see on these, we did a variety of prints, a larger print for this, a more all-over print for the medium one, and then the really pretty lighter print on the other one. So it's a fun way to use a lot of fabrics in a line and really showcase them in different ways.
Oh, those turned out so amazing.
Wait, I have one last thing to show, and that is this beautiful Going Places garment bag that's hanging back here. This print right here was probably my favorite print in the whole line. I loved the big sunflowers and all the big flowers and just the beautiful fall colors. So this pattern is called Going Places garment bag, and it's designed obviously as a garment bag. So this is the outside of the bag, and this zips open so that you can put your clothes in from this side. And it's designed so that when you fold it up, there's a little tab here that you can hook over the hanger and a little strap here that you can hook around your hangers to hold things and keep them from falling through. So it's solid with the zipper on the outside. Hang on, let me get it open. And then when you open it up and look at the other side, you have a clear vinyl window. So you can see what you've got stored in there. And then you've got a big zippered pocket. I have to lay this down. A big zippered pocket here that goes all the way to the base of the bag, so you can put big things like shoes and other things in there. And then you've got mesh pockets on top for all your little things like nylons and all those extra things that you want to carry along with your outfit. So it's got a gusset on the side that makes it, expand so it holds several outfits, and just a really nice way if you're traveling and want to take clothes with you to carry those. So I need another drink. So I hope you all enjoyed seeing those models. Laura, can you tell us, for viewers who want to get their hands on some Floribunda, where can they see the line and find the fabrics?
Well, the fabrics from Floribunda are hitting stores all around the world right now. You can check Moda retailers, and if you want to see the entire line, you can go to Moda's website and click on designers, go to Create Joy Project, and view my latest line there. You can see all of the designs. So they should be in stores. Definitely hit up your favorite local quilt shop and ask for Floribunda by Create Joy Project. and I'm so excited to see what you guys create with this fabric line.
Me too. I can't wait to see what people make. And the other thing that I wanted to be sure to mention is that all of the models that we showed today will be in our trunk show rotation. So they are available for stores to borrow to display. And our trunk show program lets stores borrow these models for 30 days or more. The only requirement is that they purchase 6 patterns for each model that they borrow and that they pay shipping to and from their store. So if you're watching this and you're a store owner, just contact us at orders@ByAnnie.com and we'll give you some more information. Or if you're a customer and you would like your local quilt shop to bring in these models so that you can see them up close and personal, be sure to let them know too about that option. So let's check and see if our customers have any questions about Floribunda or the Create Joy project. So one question here is, Laura, do you plan to design fabric lines inspired by the other seasons?
Oh, wow. I do think that will probably happen over the years. I have a couple of Christmas fabric lines that are very wintry, but I haven't done anything really honed in specifically on spring. But I do feel like every time I design a fabric line, I really want it to feel versatile, and I want it to be able to be used outside of specific seasons or holidays. So every time you see one of my fabric lines, it should feel pretty transitional. So I feel like even in Floribunda, you could use this in summer. Some of the pieces could totally verge into spring. So I really want it to feel kind of fluid, season fluid, but I definitely think we'll hit on other seasons as well.
That's a great idea, and I can't wait to see them. So before we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts or advice for viewers who are excited to start creating with Floribunda?
Well, I would say let creativity be your guide in all of the projects that you create. Obviously, Annie has created some incredible patterns that she has showcased Floribunda with so beautifully. So I've definitely added some of those patterns to my to make list. They are so beautiful. You guys did such an amazing job, but definitely just let creativity be your guide. Find things that inspire you and uplift you and that you can't wait to create, and hopefully Floribunda sneaks its way into some of those products.
It's a great idea. And it is sure to bring you joy. So it's just a really fun line to work with. Laura, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. It was really fun to chat with you and to learn more about Floribunda. I can't wait to see you again. Will you be in Houston for Market this year?
Yes, I will. Come find me at Market. I would love to see all of you and chat with you. And thank you so much, Annie, for having me and for creating so many beautiful products. I just am so inspired by you and so grateful to be here. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It was fun having you. All right. I hope that all of you enjoyed meeting Laura and learning about her art. And remember, ask for these fabrics, patterns, and supplies at your local quilt shop. Local quilt shops are such an important part of our sewing and quilting communities, and it really is up to all of us to keep them strong and vibrant. And remember, if they don't have these products, they can certainly get them. The fabrics from Moda, the patterns and supplies from their favorite distributor, or directly from us. And we are always happy to set up wholesale accounts for them. So just ask them to contact us for more information. And be sure to stay tuned at the end of this episode to see the video clip of a local quilt shop that we featured on social media this week. So Pins and Needles in Middleburg Heights, Ohio is a really spectacular shop with an amazing classroom space. Jan and her team there have really outdone themselves, and we think you should all go see it for yourselves. So thank you again to everyone who joined us today. We will be back next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Mountain Time with another inspiring episode of Live with Annie. We are going to be joined by Seth Apter, an awesome new fabric designer for Free Spirit Fabrics. And we're going to talk about what inspires him and showcase the many models that we've made using his awesome fabrics. So I know you are going to enjoy it, so mark your calendars now. And until then, happy stitching!
Hi, I'm Teresa Coates of ByAnnie.com and Patterns by Annie. Today we are visiting Pins and Needles in Middleburg Heights, Ohio, who are first-time winners in the local quilt shop contest for the state. When Jan opened the original Pins and Needles, she just welcomed her second child, Brianna, into the world. These days, Brianna helps run the store. Since 1988, when both Brianna and Pins and Needles were born, much has changed for the shop. They expanded into new locations and then concentrated their efforts on one shop, an impressively large store near Cleveland. With more than 20,000 square feet, Pins and Needles is a vibrant hub of creativity and community. Their classroom space can fit dozens of sewists, and every day you can find in-person classes being held there, sometimes 2 or 3 at the same time. I had the opportunity to teach there a couple of years ago and was amazed at the number of folks that they could accommodate. It is truly a wonderful classroom space. Their diverse range of sewing workshops were often mentioned by customers in the local quilt shop contest. Sally put it this way: their education, classes, and programs just let your imagination run wild. So many projects, so little time. Inspiration and education are qualities of this shop that many customers took note of. Personally, I was amazed at the variety of classes that they were continually being offered by both local and national educators. They host classes by one of our favorites, Alyssa Zaccardi, who is so creative and incredibly talented. In addition, you'll find everything you might need for your workshop and projects. In the retail half of the store, they stock a wide variety of fabrics, embroidery supplies, lots of ByAnnie patterns, and seemingly any sewing, embroidery, or quilting machine you might want. They sell Baby Lock, Brother, Bernina, Pfaff, Janome, and Grace machines. Owner Jan Brostek began in the sewing industry with machine sales. It's even how she met her husband. And she's continued by making sure the store offers a variety of brands both for sale and for servicing. The team at Pins and Needles believes in empowering sewists with the skills and resources to pursue their passion, no matter what avenue. Through their collective efforts, the Brostek family continues to inspire and support sewing enthusiasts on their creative journey. If your journey takes you anywhere near Cleveland, I hope you'll head over to Middleburg Heights to visit their shop. While you're in the area, make sure to explore Playhouse Square, the vibrant theater district in downtown Cleveland. You can find a Broadway musical tour there year-round. A visit to Cleveland wouldn't be complete without a visit to the West Side Market, housed in a historic train station and offering fresh local produce and goods. Notable landmarks include the Terminal Tower, Lake Erie, and the outdoor chandelier at Playhouse Square. I enjoyed sharing Pins and Needles sewing shops with you today, and I hope you did too. If you live near them or are planning a trip to Northern Ohio, be sure to stop in and check them out. Don't forget to check their class schedule first and see what kind of fun you might be able to join in on. You can find out more about them at pinsandneedles.com. Until next time, happy stitching!